To introduce the senator, we have someone who is near and dear to my heart. I met him in about 3 years ago at our Gear Up Alumni Academy that we were running in D.C. He is a Gear Up alumni, obviously, and went through our alumni program, leadership program as well. And I just want to say one thing about Ike Brooks. And you may know Ike. I'm going to show a picture of him in 1 second. But when he was in that cohort of about 30 Gear Up alumni going through the Leadership Academy, his nickname that all the other students gave him was the Governor. And that says something about a commitment to what he believes. And probably, if I was going to bet one day whether Ike would be governor of West Virginia, I would put my money down on him. This is Ike right here on the right-hand side. Anybody recognize Ike? Ike, you don't get the horn. Ike, not only is a Gear Up alumni doing outstanding things, this is a picture of him with his two colleagues. He was on Road Trip Nation. So you may have seen him if you ever watched that show, Road Trip Nation, and this is when they were visiting with Michelle Obama and the Reach Higher initiative. So please join me in welcoming an outstanding Gear Up West Virginia alumni, Ike Brooks.
So before I get started, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. I know the work that you're doing, and students like me benefit from it every single day. So my name is James Ike Brooks, and I am a native West Virginian. I grew up in a little town right in the heart of coal country, and I was living through what is now being called the opioid epidemic. But I was living through it a long time before it garnered any national attention. See, for me, it was just going home from school, and I would see my mom and dad in the grips of addiction. And I was a pretty smart kid, and I knew that what I was seeing around me every single day, that wasn't what I wanted for my life. At that time, I dreamed about going to medical school. I wanted to be a doctor, because that was the most obvious job that I could possibly think of that helped people, that made a difference in their lives. And so in order for me to do that, I was going to have to find a way to college. I was going to have to find a way out of the vicious world of drugs that both took my dad's life and put my mom behind bars. And so for me to do that, I needed somebody. And then the Gear Up program came into my life. And when I say Gear Up, I mean the people who work for Gear Up came into my life, and they never left me. They were the roadmap that led me to college. They changed my life over and over and over again. See, they were instrumental in both my college journey, but also who I am and who I want to become. See, the first time I ever visited Washington, D.C., it was with the Gear Up program. I was sitting in Senator Joe Manchin's office, and he was running a little bit late. But when I looked up on the screen in his office, I seen Joe on the Senate floor, and he was fighting for sensible gun legislation and background checks. It was right after, At that time, it was right after the terrible Pulse nightclub shooting. And I saw my senator making a change, taking a stand, even when it wasn't popular. I knew in that moment, and I'd never been more proud to be stood up by a senator, by the way. But I knew in that moment, Gear Up had done it again. Gear Up had changed my life again. See, I wasn't meant to be a doctor. I was meant to help people like Joe Manchin, my senator, to make policy changes, to fight for real differences in people's lives. And eventually, I did get to meet Senator Manchin. I got to know really who the man who holds one of our Senate seats is. See, Joe has a devout and a spirited love for West Virginia and the people who live there. He eats, sleeps, and breathes West Virginia. And of course, his contributions to making sure that students in West Virginia succeed, to me, that is one of his greatest contributions. And of course, his contributions and his leadership in Gear Up, it extends far beyond the mountains of West Virginia. Every student, every educator, every community that Gear Up affects and Gear Up is in, that's because of Senator Manchin's work. His work affects all of us. In the Senate, Joe has led the Gear Up Dear Colleagues letter for the past 2 years. Most recently, he called on the Senate Appropriations Committee to increase Gear Up's funding by $25 million in 2019. Yeah. Not only that, but he has led the effort to make sure that Gear Up's future is protected. He is co-leading the Gear Up for Success Act of 2018. It is a bipartisan, bicameral bill that works to reauthorize the Gear Up program and to strengthen it for years to come. Now, he can't do it alone. So Senator Manchin, along with his colleagues, Senator Tillis of North Carolina, Senator Harris, Kamala Harris of California. I see you, California. And also Senator Cornyn of Texas. Yeah, I know the groups I'm talking to. But they listened to the Gear Up communities. They listened thoughtfully, and they crafted a reauthorization bill that speaks both to the needs of the students and the educators that are serving them. This group of bipartisan senators, they show that educational opportunity, it isn't a partisan issue. They show that your work is of value to this country, that it is vital to the strength and the well-being of this country. Now, as a former state legislator, an accomplished governor, and in the last 8 years in the Senate, Joe has time and time again proven his ability to forge effective solutions to some of our most challenging issues. His commitment to bipartisanship, his tireless focus on education, and his unwavering support of the work that Gear Up is doing is unparalleled. And while Gear Up is so lucky to have broad support among many in Congress, we are especially grateful to have Senator Manchin championing our cause. And so if you would please help me give a huge Gear Up welcome to the NCEP 2018 Champion for Student Success, Senator Joe Manchin.
There's not much to say, is there? Well, needless to say how proud all of us in West Virginia are of Ike, as much as you are, to produce somebody and give someone hope such as that. There's the Ikes all over America waiting for someone to touch them, waiting for someone to say, I believe in you, I can help you. Come on, you can do better. And before I get started, I just want to say thank you to so many people that's responsible. And we have West Virginians here. I'm so proud of them. And I want to speak more about that. But first of all, to Ike for the wonderful introduction and also his testimony of who he is because of you all and of this program. Dr. Adam Green, our Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs in Gear Up, who has a passion and has always had that passion. Elizabeth Manuel, College Access and Success Program Director. J.R. Lester, College Access and Program Director. Rachel Hicks. We have Dr. Zori. Georgie Ava, he's a research data analyst. Christine Harmon. Andrew Gilman. These are from Mingo Central Gear Up, which has done a wonderful job. And Christine Cart. These are people that are very much involved and has made us who we are. Let me speak a little bit about my state. First of all, I don't know if we have a gated community in the state of West Virginia. I'm thinking about it. I don't think we do. I haven't, and I've been around for quite some time, been governor 2 terms. If we do have one, I was never invited to it, let's put it that way. But what you see from Ike is pretty much what you're going to get from most of West Virginia and most of rural America. There's young people out there that need a little bit of help. The traditional home is not what it was when I grew up. So we have to recognize that. They're changing times. We can say curse the darkness. We can say what happened to the family unit, what happened to the family structure, what happened to the community. We can blame anybody and everybody we want to for the problems that we have in America. Or we can do as Gear Up's doing and reach out and grab them, because they're out there. There are so many Ikes throughout West Virginia and throughout every holla and up every creek in America that's looking for that little bit of a hand out and a hand up. My wife, Gail, who's been a champion of Gear Up from day one. She was a teacher at Fairmont State College at that time. Now it's Fairmont State University. She was one of the first grants that reached out and participated in that program. Unbelievable. Well, I saw what it did. I became governor in 2004 and 2005. I knew we could do more. We got one of the first grants in 2008. And now we're on our second one up to 2021. We're fighting continuously. If we don't keep investing, if we don't believe that we are better, first of all, what you're seeing going on in Congress, what you're seeing going on in Washington on a world scale is not normal. It's not who we are as people. It's just not. I'm the least partisan person and the most bipartisan person in Congress. I don't look at whether you're a D or an R. I look at whether you're a human being and whether you're an American and you want to help the rest of the world. I heard Colin Powell one time when Colin Powell was starting, the 5 promises. I think you're all pretty much familiar with that, the 5 promises. It rang so through me and my wife, so we adopted that as our core for my term as governor. Every secretary, every person that worked with me, nobody ever worked for me, they worked with me. Every person that worked with me, I had 45,000 employees that worked with me in state government trying to make West Virginia better. Every one of them, their core preamble was basically, they all had the 5 promises in their office, posted. And that 5 promises is simply this: every child deserves a loving, caring adult in their life. Unconditional love. I tell people, I was raised in a little coal mining town. It's hard to, little 400 people, maybe on a good day. I told people, there wasn't a stoplight in town. My dad became mayor, and he thought we should be progressive, and he put a stoplight up. We had 2 wrecks the same day. I said, Dad, I don't think that's going to work. He took it down, put a caution light back up, and everything's been fine since. That was my introduction into the listening to your constituents. Anyway, I come from this little town, and I said, so when I give talks and I go around the state or around the country, I said, I was raised as a privileged child. And they look at me and they said, privileged child? Man, it must have been a fancy neighborhood. I was raised between the creek and the tracks. Well, it must have been a fancy house. I was raised in a 3-room garage apartment. And I tell, this was back before we had any type of sex education was being taught or any of that. So I told my sister Janet, she was 3 years older than me, and this is my introduction to sex education. Every time my mother got pregnant, we got a new bunk bed. When that bunk bed come in, I says, Janet, I think something's going on. So, they say, a lot of you all can relate to that, right? Anyway, they say that, they said, it must be a lot of money. And if there was, I don't know. We all lived the same. We didn't see race. No matter what color your skin was, we all were fighting to survive. Everybody kind of worked in the mines or around a mining job. My grandfather had a grocery store. My dad had a little furniture store. My grandfather started in the mines. My uncle got killed in the mines. My classmates got killed in mines. So I know the structure of a community that depends on each and every person. When that structure falls apart, somebody's got to fill that gap. That's where you all come in. You have to give somebody hope. But so I said, people say, why do you think you're a privileged child? There was never a day in my life that I knew that someone didn't love me, no matter how bad I screwed up. Unconditional love. If you've had unconditional love in your life and you know there was someone that was always going to be, it could have been your mom, could have been your dad, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, somebody in your life that you could turn to that was always there, never condemned you. Cicero said to err is human. You're a human being. You're going to make mistakes. But is that a reason for me to abandon you? I don't think. Because I know you can do better. I know you'll learn from it if I encourage you. So I had that. Today, the structure maybe doesn't provide that. It might be you. It might be each one of you. It could be a school program. It could be an after-school program. It could be a religious-based program. It could be a neighbor. But that child needs unconditional love. That's the first promise. Second promise, every child should have a safe place in their life. It's not always a home anymore. It might be a program that you're all helping them find. It might be a place. It could be the school again. It could be somebody else's home. But they have to have some place where harm cannot enter their life. The third promise, every child should have a healthy start. When I was a kid, there was no such thing as lunch programs in schools. There was no breakfast programs in schools. There was no food programs in schools. Our parents, I can still remember my mom packing an extra sandwich or so that she would pack because she knew there'd be another kid that maybe didn't get a sandwich. I didn't know the reason why, but I always had more than I could eat. And she had that. She had that intuitive understanding that, we're going to help each other. So that's how we were raised. Things have changed. So now we have healthy starts. Every child should have, the fourth promise, every child should be taught a livable skill. A livable skill. That's why we have mandatory education from pre-K through 12. The fifth promise is we can't teach. You cannot teach the fifth promise. You can only do what you do right now to make sure that child sees somebody that they want to grow into, to be a loving, caring adult and give something back. That's the fifth promise. Those 5 promises, you all are providing that direction for that fifth promise. So I'm lucky. I am a lucky human being. I stand before you against long odds. A kid coming from a coal mining camp with 400 people, never knowing that I could attain a college education. And my grandmother, I'll never forget, I'm the first one to get a college opportunity. I'm studying economics and accounting, and I'm in business courses. I come home, my grandmother, the most beautiful person, Mama Kay, had a 4th grade education, but she had a PhD in life. So I come home and I'm talking to her, and I threw the whole load of hay on her. I'm telling her how smart I am, how much I've learned, knowing that she's not understanding anything I'm talking about, but I'm giving her everything I got. She grabbed me and she said, honey, let me tell you something. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Well, that changed me because I was talking over her. And how many of us have had people in our life that wanted you to know how much superior they were to you before they knew that they cared about you and wanted to be part of your life? And that's what you all do. I'm forever grateful and appreciative. I will fight. I will be your champion. I'll be your voice piece. I will help write the checks and appropriations committee to make sure that you can continue to do the job you're doing. And I expect you to reach out and find the Ikeys of your state, pick them up, and have the turnouts that we're getting and the success rate. You all have this success story in your state. You all have an Ike in your state. Reach out to them, because you know one thing? That trickle down, that's really the trickle down effect works. They'll recruit another kid, say, hey, you can get an opportunity here. And that other kid will tell another kid. It's because of your love and caring and devotion. We're all a product of our environment. We are who we are where we come from. And if you don't come from a place that has love and compassion and caring, if we can get our heads out of our you-know-whats and start acting like Americans and quit acting like Democrats and Republicans, fighting each other. Thank you. I want to thank each and all of you. God bless you. God bless you, and may God continue to bless the United States of America. Thank you so much.